Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host, the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, once again in the yard streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. All right, and you can't be taking no nights off here in the streams without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hello. How we doing on this fine ass Tuesday?
Doing okay. Hanging in. It's hot. So
See,
not having a great
I
time.
I would love to sit here and complain to you about the heat here.
Yeah.
But there's just no effing point. Like what? Yeah, like what the?
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my god, it was like 85. I was in pants. It was awful. Sarah out here on like a goddamn skillet frying like an egg.
It was 113 the other day, so I guess at least we're under the 110s for now.
What the fuck do you do? Like in all seriousness, like what the fuck do you do?
You stay inside. You stay inside.
All right, now my curiosity is coming out. Like, okay, you're inside, but like when you look outside, are there people walking around? Like, is there any activity outside?
I mean, not really, because you get used to the heat, obviously. So it's like, I mean, especially when there's no humidity. So it's like sometimes you go out and it's like 105 or whatever. You're like, oh, it's not that bad, But that's because you're used to, like, I think the highest it's ever been since I've lived here was like 123. I think that's the hottest it's gotten since I've lived here. So it's like, that is like, okay. And that's when, like, we don't have a cooler or a heater for our pool. So when it's that hot out, people are like, go in the pool. I'm like, our pool is 100 degrees. It's a literal it's a gigantic hot tub. So it's like it's not it's not refreshing at all. So most people just stay inside. They might go like to the mall or to the movies, stuff that people do like when it's hot out, but like otherwise you're really only safe inside. Like there's occasionally some of those weirdos who decide that they're going to go hiking. And then you hear about them like on the news being airlifted off the mountain because they like got dehydrated, and it's like, oh my god. But otherwise, otherwise I'd rather just be inside where it's like 70 degrees,
I don't blame you. I really don't blame you for staying inside. I do have the kind of weird predicament where I have an AC office, and obviously you're on a fish floor, so shit's cold. Has to be ice everywhere. So that's like that's why I wear the long sleeve and pants. But then you go outside and it's just like you get a hit, like a nice Gunther chop right to the bod. And it's just like, oh, so that sucks. And then I do get to drive around in these, but like I can't go outside. You know what I mean? Like I have the energy to go out and want to do stuff outside. Like my nephew wants to play wiffle ball or something. I'm like, bro.
No, I know. We have to do that with my nephew too. It's like it doesn't register with kids like how hot it is.
It doesn't.
So it's like you can go outside for 10 minutes and then you have to come back in.
It's like, why? It's like, because you are going to pass out and I cannot be liable.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So
I just it's
one reason why I hate living here. So
yeah, move to Boston. Let's just like,
if it wasn't so expensive, I
don't blame you.
I feel like in a way it's still kind of like my end goal, but it's like so ridiculously expensive that it feels like it's never gonna happen.
It's just tough because there's just rent is outrageous here.
Yeah. Well, so are houses in general, like houses in general are. It's not even just rent. It's like, okay, you can't get a decent house that's not like 600,000,
No.
So
I have friends trying, and I'm praying for them every day. Praying
for
them
good luck
every day.
Yeah.
let's see what's going on with our peeps here before we get into the main topic today. We got David 1, David 2. We got the unhinged main event Fro. Still unhinged. You know what? It's summer. It's time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when you can be unhinged. I was very unhinged celebrating my birthday on Saturday. All right. Ask me what I didn't have to drink because holy shit. It basically felt like I drank the Four Horsemen. Bernard says what's up and that he'll save you from the heat. But
you're in for it, bro.
That's there you go, sir. That's what I was gonna lead to.
I mean, it's better because it's not as hot, but that humidity, tornadoes, hurricanes,
See, you get rain though.
Yeah, but I could go back to Seattle if I wanted that.
Well, now you're at the opposite end because that's too much rain.
No, I didn't think so. I didn't hate the weather. I hated everything else about Washington, but I didn't hate the weather.
Okay, I could see that. Yes, R.I.P. To Sika. I didn't see that we had a banner for it because obviously happened right before we recorded. So, but we do give our thoughts and prayers to the Anawayu family for their loss. He passed away this afternoon. Was 79? I think it was 79 years old. So it's a very sad loss. And I mean, I can't speak on, I watched him and all this and I love, but definitely a founding or prominent figure in the Anawayu family and built what we see as the bloodline today. So obviously prayers and respects to him, and we're definitely going to see something on Friday on SmackDown because of it, along with the bloodline ceremony and stuff. I would not be surprised if they did something like that. So yeah, that's peeps here right now. We'll get more in here obviously as the show goes on because we got a lot to say, Sarah. A lot of good things are happening right now in the WWE, not even the WWE. It's really everywhere, but specifically here with Raw. I mean, just to summarize everything I've seen on the interweb about it is that the character development and how they're intertwining things, and that when you're going from one story to the next, it doesn't feel like a jump cut or like a cut scene in a video game or whatnot. Like it's very fluid. The camera cuts, the production is just so out of this world, and it honestly makes it go by fast. The 3 hours, it's the most entertaining 3 hours of the week.
I agree.
So we got one more. Okay, and so what do you want? Kick it right off.
Yes. So
yes, you talk about
before Raw could even really officially start, I would say, because Michael Cole was in the middle of explaining why The Miz was on commentary with him, and why Pat McAfee was not there, which we learned today that it was because his father-in-law unexpectedly passed away. Drew McIntyre got in the ring and just gloated about what he did to CM Punk on SmackDown, to the point of making sure we re-saw the footage from SmackDown and everything else that he said. It was just further taunting Punk, obviously, showing us that he stole his bracelet that said AJ's name, April, and their dog Larry, who I guess is a big name in the CM Punk fandom.
Oh, if you're a big CM Punk fan, you know who Larry is.
I know who he is, but I'm not a CM Punk fan. But yeah, so
knowing shit.
I guess a fan gave it to him. So McIntyre is using that to taunt Punk further after that beat down, and I was here for it. This was like a whole new side, I feel like, of Drew McIntyre. This was this felt like a new level for him in this character, because I think something that we had preached about since the beginning of him being this heel character that basically started at the Royal Rumble for the most part, was his character was rooted in common sense. So it was really hard to say the things that he was saying and the things that he was doing were wrong. Cause it's like, no, like it makes sense why he's doing this or why he's saying that. I think he's taken a bit of a turn now. And I don't blame him. Honestly, it feels like a character arc. You know,
Oh,
he's
it's
at that
definitely character
point
arc. Yeah.
where he's frustrated, he's pissed off, he's tired of everything that is happening, as we talked about during the SmackDown breakdown. You know, all that he's done really is just flapped his gums about CM Punk, and yet that set Punk off to a point of wanting to screw over McIntyre's chances at the title. So it's really hard to be mad at him to get to this new low. Like, it might be a little bit diabolical, it might be a little bit evil, maybe you shouldn't gloat, but at the same time I'm like, I am not mad about it. Like this should be happening. He should be mad. You know what I mean?
He should still be. It's the degree of which he's taking it is where we're entering heel villain type levels here. To have CM Punk on your shoulders walking out into his hometown crowd. He's bloodied, by the way, if I didn't mention. And you just
I was gonna say, like, that was like
that was intense blood.
New school blood for wrestling. Like, the fact that they also re-showed it on Raw without it being black and white, but the pictures on .com are black and white, and just like how bloody his face was, that I felt like was a big move.
And you have him get dropped. Just not even. I thought he was going to go straight to the ring, cut the promo because old school mind. But it was better that he just said, "Yeah, get off me." Flop on the floor he goes, and then you have the entire, managerial staff of SmackDown come out, and the push he gave to Nick Aldis too was so good. So then you have that on Raw, the coming out and just pretty much saying what he did, taunting the whole thing. It was when he took the bracelet, and that's when he's showing it off, and then going after the dog Larry. He's making sense. Obviously, we all think Drew makes sense with whatever he's going. But now you're right. That damn dog didn't do shit.
Well, because
like you're pissed. You're
trying
emotional.
To hurt Punk
exactly
in the way that he hurt him. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, he can't hurt him to the same degree because Punk's not going for the championship, or, he can't screw him over in his hometown in a big match, like Punk's already been there, done that. So it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't feel the same if they, the way that Punk has done it to Drew. So his way of dealing with it is making a statement by beating him up and then taunting him and gloating about it a few days later. Which I think is interesting because, as I said, like, this is a new part of this character. So I'm interested to see where this goes, how far it goes, and what this all means. Because then people are talking about, which I know that it to a certain degree, it's wishful thinking, but people are talking about, what if Drew gets into the Money in the Bank match, which it's possible. We'll talk about it. And AJ is the one who makes sure that Drew doesn't win. What if that's
fan booking at its finest? But
I know.
At this point, I mean,
so like, I don't hate it, but at the same time, because I saw somebody say, "Oh, they should play AJ's music to distract him," and I was like, you can't do that to the fans, though. You can't tease AJ Lee being there and then she's not. You know what I mean? Because people have been begging for her to return to WWE for so long, and even more so since Punk returned in November. They could not just like have her music play and not have her actually be there. So
I'm gonna agree with the longevity of her being out. You can't tease the fans like that. However, she's popped into the ring.
Yeah.
And then CM Punk's in the front row,
or even knock the ladder over as Drew's about to get the briefcase or something. You know what I mean?
But Punk has to be there too. That's the other thing.
But then there's this argument, right? Because I feel like everybody's saying, okay, we're under the assumption that Drew is going to win the Money in the Bank, which, again, we'll talk about it. But under that assumption, people are theorizing that Punk is going to make sure that Drew doesn't win again. how interested are we in seeing that for a third time? Because honestly, I'm just not into it. I feel like they need to figure something else out. You know, like I'm just not into seeing a third time of Punk ruining his chance at becoming a champion. Like I feel we've been there, we've done that. And how do you really top doing that to him in Scotland? You know what I mean? I feel like okay, making sure he doesn't win the Money in the Bank briefcase, yeah, that's pretty bad, but is it really any worse than making sure he
It's
lost in front of
not.
his family?
If Drew did not brutalize Punk to a bloody pulp, I would 1,000% agree. However, the only thing I'll say that would make sense for him to ruin his chance at a championship is if CM Punk doesn't play the mind games of it, like the ref, or like he just goes out there and beats the shit out of him because he beat the shit out of him. That's when it's like, all right, it's enough. They're both cleared. Now it's time for the match. You know,
Well,
it's that final step. But if he does it like, oh, he knocks over the ladder, ha ha, I got you. That's stupid. But if he's
well,
going out to kill Drew McIntyre, then I get it. You know,
it's just
it
it
makes
all
sense.
depends though if he's cleared, which a lot of people are saying he's not cleared, which is what I said also when we were talking about SmackDown over the weekend. But I think the like I'm not into it happening again, but I feel like, you know, Drew said he would cash in that night. So wouldn't it be more effective for Punk if Drew does win Money in the Bank and the way that you get back at him is ensuring he loses his cash in?
Yeah, see, that makes more sense though.
Like that would piss me off to no end, but I feel like that is more damaging to Drew, you know, than making sure he doesn't get the briefcase. Okay, well that doesn't mean he's not going to get a match again. Like he can
Yeah, but
work his way up the ladder and get a match again.
yeah, it's the
Um
briefcase means nothing. The briefcase is just a fast pass. If
yeah,
we're
it's
talking Disney,
just
like it's just a fast
guaranteeing.
pass.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like that would be more it would work better, but at the same time, I'm just not into it really. I mean, I get it. We want to see them have a way to easily set up their match at SummerSlam. And so that's why people are saying that's why this has to happen. But I just feel like it would be nice if we could or they could come up with some sort of way to make it a little bit more creative than just seeing the same thing again. You know, like I'm just not, it would be literally once a month since WrestleMania. I'm just not,
Yeah.
I don't know. And absolutely not, Richard. Absolutely not.
What?
Absolutely not.
What? You don't want to see it?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I want to talk about my
Dude
favorite.
couldn't even get the Intercontinental Championship, but we want to give it to him so that he can go after the World Heavyweight.
Or he could cash in
Absolutely.
on the
No,
Intercontinental. We
no, but
know
everybody
that's
made
in
fun of
play.
Austin Theory for doing that. You cannot do that. If
It
you're a
sounds
Chad
like
Gable
LA
fan,
Knight's
there's
gonna do
absolutely
it.
no way. And
I just want
no,
to let you
Jey
know.
Uso does not need to win Money in the Bank. He's the
No.
last person who needs to win Money in the Bank.
Anyone else in that match should win. I
Yeah,
would
Jey
rather see
Uso.
Andrade.
I would fucking
Seriously.
puke. I would puke my guts out if Jey Uso wins.
Oh,
Okay,
I was about to say Andrade. I was about to be like,
I would die if
but
it was Andrade.
um,
But
did
yeah.
you let you know that LA Knight low key did kind of cut a promo about if he wins the Money in the Bank, he's going to find Logan Paul and just
Well, yeah, but I still,
throw
I
that out
can't
there.
be mad about that though, because one, they're gonna want to keep, because I know that everybody's like, well, you can cash in and they can just switch brands. They're not gonna do that. Like they're the only
Yeah,
way that was
no,
going to happen was when it was Cody leaving Raw to go to SmackDown because he became champion from Roman
because
Reigns.
that
They're
makes
not gonna do,
sense.
otherwise it's not gonna happen. I'm not
Yes.
mad about that for one reason. They're going to keep LA Knight on SmackDown because if they wanted him on Raw, they would have moved him to Raw. And
But
two,
he's a
there's
SmackDown.
no reason to win the Money in the Bank if you're LA Knight and cash in on Cody Rhodes. There's no point. So it was like everybody who was winning Money in the Bank, they knew that they weren't going to be able to cash in on Roman Reigns. So it was like, I don't blame LA Knight for being like, I'm going to go after Logan Paul. You know what I mean? I still don't think that he needs the Money in the Bank briefcase to do that. We've already talked about that, but yeah.
It'll be Blizzard the Bloodline. Yeah. So I'm reading the comments.
Okay.
Like
Did you want to
myself,
get to
but...
any, or am I good to go?
No, the only one was Nathaniel. That was not the comment. I just want to let you know that.
I think
That.
if the way that things are going in the bloodline, I think we're going to, I mean, maybe Rocket versus Cody at Royal Rumble, but also that means that Cody has to be super involved in the bloodline versus the bloodline, because I do think that based off of what we're seeing, we're definitely getting Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, that seems like
So if Cody's in the mix, then it has to be because of my idea coming true, but we'll get to that. So what's the comment that you wanted?
I wanted to get to this one. You know, it was kind of on the topic
Yes,
conversation that
exactly.
he's going to be with the bloodline. There's no
Yes,
reason for him to
that
hold the briefcase because he has family issues.
yeah. So that's the thing is like Jay got a title match against Roman Reigns. Why does he need a briefcase to face Damian Priest? Like, no.
No.
And Jay is going to be going back, as Richard said. He's going to be involved in the bloodline storyline at some point. So there's really, it would again become a prop, which we want to avoid as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't do that again. All right. So Braun Breaker, our favorite orange guy, allegedly might have injured
this. I don't love
Ludwig Kaiser. No, I was so pissed off, and this also pisses me off because it just feels like he's becoming a liability, and I don't like that. Because if we're gonna look at the recent history of Braun Breaker, let's not forget about him accidentally hitting the dude in the head with the steel steps and making him gush blood and whatever. Like, part of it was storyline, but part of it was not, because he did accidentally hit him. 2, he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing with Ricochet, so Ricochet fell flat backed onto concrete outside. And now you knew exactly when it happened, and it was when Breaker threw him onto the commentary desk when Kaiser got hurt. And it's just very unfortunate. They had a great match, and it sucks because yes, they were furthering the feud between Kaiser and Sheamus, and that's why Sheamus got involved, and Kaiser ended up winning via DQ. But now there are rumors that Kaiser is probably injured, although I haven't seen any updates about that today, so I'm not sure. But I'm crossing my fingers it's not true. If it's not true, then I'm hoping that it's not severe, because again, the timing of this injury, if it's serious, is so bad.
Timing
it's like
sucks.
Injuries suck no matter what, obviously, no matter who gets injured and whatever, but it's always when the timing is just the like absolute worst possible scenario is when I'm like, oh God, because Kaiser's finally getting that singles push that we've all, not all of us, but the people who appreciated Imperium,
the loyal ones,
yes,
the loyal ones,
have been waiting for and knew that he was capable of. And now that's happening. He gets in a great match with Braun Breaker, and then he could possibly have like something wrong with his arm, something wrong with his ribs, something. Yeah. So I hope that's not true. I really do, because
I really hope. I hope not either. I'm starting to like Kaiser in the ring too. I like his little feud he's got going on with Sheamus, and I know, yeah, I like your guy, Gunther. I like your guy. He's pretty cool. Oh, he's really good. You taught him well. Here's my thing. I like him getting his ass kicked by Sheamus, though.
It's very rude.
That knee, that was awesome. Like, that's the type of feud that they need to have on Raw, where it's just two dudes that just love to fight and just want to see who the better guy is.
Yeah.
And you need to sprinkle that with what's going on, because that keeps you. And it's nice how it's like they have that too, and then Braun's like, stop friggin' interfering in all my matches.
Yeah,
that intertwines. Like, we're gonna talk about it, but like, it's that type of thing that makes you invested as the fan.
I think it's also surprising for people who might not know a lot about Kaiser to see that a guy who's built like him is like a fighter, like a hard hitter, because he's so lanky. He's so lean. He doesn't look like he could hit hard or really like be in a super physical match the way that you would assume with a Braun Breaker or a Gunther. You know what I mean? But no, he can throw down. Boy can throw down. And as you already alluded to, we see that Braun Breaker goes to the back and he is pissed off because he's like, you know what? This is whatever number of time that my match has been ended prematurely by somebody interfering, somebody doing something stupid, and it has nothing to do with me, which is funny because, yeah, brother, you've done stuff too, but that's okay. So he goes to the back and says that essentially to make it up to him that he would like to have an intercontinental title match against Sami Zayn, and then coincidentally here is Sami Zayn just roaming the hallways and happens to run into this conversation. And
he was dropping.
Yeah, he was just peeking around, he was in the shadows. And he grants Breaker's wish, and they will have it at Money in the Bank. So my immediate thought, and that is why it is the banner, is what are your interest levels in this match?
And
it's okay if they're not that interested.
No. I'm interested because I am obsessed with Braun Breaker.
Oh god.
I want him to be champion.
Oh god.
Just put it on him. I love he just kicks ass, and him and Sami are going to have a good match regardless.
Yeah.
Like it's when I say interest, it's like I'm interested because I would like to see Braun Breaker as champion. If I didn't want to see Braun Breaker as champion, I would not be that interested in this match, but not because of the quality. See, I mean, there's like the difference there. Like I know it's gonna be good, but
yeah, I know that it's going to be a good match because I think Sami Zayn is a very underrated wrestler, underrated performer. I feel like people kind of overlook him, and maybe it is because he's like an average guy, and so you don't really expect a whole lot when you first look at him. But if you actually watch his matches, there's a reason why he's still doing it this many years later. I'm not even that invested in his title reign to say that I don't want Braun Breaker to beat him. I don't know that I really have a preference. I just wonder if it's a little too early for Breaker to win a title on the main roster. Like, is it too soon to dethrone Sami? Especially because, he was in this heated rivalry with Chad Gable, and people thought that Chad Gable should have been the one to take the title off of him. So is it a good idea to shift gears and make it be Braun Breaker be the guy that does that? I don't know. It really depends. I think it depends on how far they really want to push him, which we know that they want to like make him a big star, but it's like, do you really want to do it right this second? I don't know.
I think you could. Yeah, I'm very interested. We have the peeps here saying their interest level. Bernard's at a 5.
5 out of 10? Doing it out of 10?
5 out of 10. Well, out of 10, RM. Yeah. Dickie over here. Jay's at a 7.8. Way to use the Dewey Decimal System. Love it. That's not related. Belt Braun. See, that's what I mean, dude. Like, he's got it. But the thing is, like, if you do that, he can't lose. Like, you can't just like have him do some 3-month reign.
Yeah.
Like, he has to have it for at least half a year.
But see, that's the thing that we also run into, right? Because Gunther had the title for 666 days. No one could beat him. Sami finally gets it done, and we're taking the title off of him 3 months later. Like, doesn't that kind of devalue?
No, because it's Breaker.
But does he have to win the first time?
No.
Could they push it to SummerSlam and maybe Breaker wins there?
Yes, but they have to do it in a way where it's still going along with the story of people getting involved in his match.
That's easy. But yeah,
you need to have him, not because of DQ or because he's kicking his ass too much, or like that. It needs because of DQ.
Yeah.
Or not DQ. It's outside interference.
Yeah, I get it.
It needs to be outside interference. I need to get that out.
All right, let's see. Okay, so then we see this. We had to talk about this simply because it was my favorite. It was a storyline throughout the entire evening, and we first saw the Judgment Day layer, which they were really trying to promote WWE 2K with Judgment Day because they were playing. And
Damien saw me playing.
Yeah, Damien comes in the back and he addresses Dom and is like, you really need to handle this Liv situation. You really need to like end this, blah, blah, blah. And as he's talking, he receives a sexy text from Liv, which he then shows to all of the guys in the Judgment Day layer. And there is just some interesting behavior going on behind the scenes. So that's when you start to question, okay, is Dom really going to end things, and how involved is he, and whatnot. So not a whole lot to say about it, but it goes along with the rest, which we will get to eventually.
Oh my god, I love this. My ex-girlfriend never bought me a PS5. You know what I mean? Like, that's just insane. And then definitely didn't buy one for my boys either. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Liv is all in on Dominic. And what I love about it is that he's not pushing off. Like, he's saying he's pushing off till like Judgment Day.
He's trying to convince everybody that he's not interested, but he's doing it with words and not actions. That's the thing.
He's trying to convince himself.
Yes, but I think
is awesome. This is incredible.
But the thing is, as they say, actions speak louder than words. So it's like, okay, you can say all day long that you're not interested, you're not this, you're not that, blah, 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 blah. But when you keep doing all of these things, it's saying the complete opposite. So we'll have to see. Do we want to just jump into the rest of that, or
yeah? Let's just okay. No. Well, no. Not the main event. We can do everything but the main event.
Okay. So then that brings us to when Liv Morgan goes into the ring and she is sweet talking Daddy Dom, and she wants him to come out so that she can reward him and give him more presents right in the middle of that ring, which I was like, all right, Lita.
I was like, all right, this
Lita,
that type of reward. That was
yeah. So she was rudely interrupted by Miss Zelina Vega, who we knew that they're trying to set something up between them for the Women's World Championship. And Zelina just wanted absolutely none of what Liv Morgan was saying, what she was doing, none of it. Called Dom Rhea Ripley's sloppy seconds, which the crowd eventually chanted, which I was like, all right.
I love it. It's a WWE crowd. They'll chant anything. They know this.
So I felt like this was a really good segment with Zelina, though. Like this was a good mic moment, I feel like, for her. Like, she was able to just buy into this character really easily, and it's like it's not so far off of what she's been doing, but I would say that Zelina is really I would say part of the problem with why we're not seeing more of Zelina, or why she's not like a big part of the women's stories or something right now, is because we've said this before about other people, but I feel like she's being herself. And that's when you drown for the most part, unless you are as established as Randy Orton or John Cena. You know what I mean? Like, they were able to go out there and be John Cena or be Randy Orton, but they had already been there for, 10, 15 years at that point. Yeah. So it was okay. And so I think Zelina's kind of like floating around because she's just who she is. And so it's like people aren't really buying into it, but her being a little bit sassy to Liv in this moment, it was good. Yeah, it was really good.
Very good. It felt like an actual, like, it didn't feel like she was coming out to, just get attention and go for the title. Like, she was like, there was some feeling there.
Yeah.
And what she was saying, like the dirty D, that line was great.
Yeah.
Like, the whole feud story with her being, it's like, why would she care? Why would Zelina Vega care about what Liv is doing with Dom? It adds a little, obviously you have the Mysterio connection, LWO, but Zelina's like, all right, you're the champion, all you're doing is trying to flirt with Dom. Like, no, if you're gonna do that, give me a title, because I have been over here working my ass off. I got my one match. No, give me the opportunity now. Mm-hmm. And why not? Zelina Vega's great in the ring. She just doesn't get that many opportunities because she kind of is in the LWO vortex.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm for it.
I think she's a good opponent for Liv too. Unlike when she was put up against Rhea Ripley, like, you knew that she was just going to be absolutely dominated. But Liv is small. This was like the only moment, and it was because of the shoes that she was wearing, where Liv is looking down at a girl that she's talking to, and it was only because she had like 6-inch boot wedge heels on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I assume that we're gonna get this match at Money in the Bank or something like that. We didn't really get to the end of this because before anything could really be settled, Liv decided that she was going to attack Zelina. This was after Dom came out, by the way, and said, "I don't like you. I don't want you."
He was gonna help Zelina Vega win.
Yes. But Liv was not thrilled with what Zelina had to say about Dom Dom, so she jumped her. They get into a tussle, and then Daddy Mysterio comes out and takes Liv off of Zelina, and we don't really know, but Dom was not too happy to see his deadbeat dad. And was it because he just doesn't like his deadbeat dad, or was it because he broke up a fight that involved his girl Liv Morgan? I don't know.
I think
But
you're getting too close to somebody there. Maybe a loved
Liv,
one.
yeah, Liv took it as, oh, you went out there and you
God.
saved me. Oh my God, Daddy Dom, you're my hero. Thank you so much for saving me. And he was like, it was my deadbeat dad. Like, I hate him, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, no, but like, you saved me.
The hug. The
Yeah.
hug. She hugs him and he does this.
Yeah, he's
I
just
have
like,
been, oh
oh.
my God. I've had
Yeah.
friends. Oh my God. Just seeing that is so fucking funny.
So, I guess to continue her, whether it's a charade or not, to help the Judgment Day and get on all of their good side, she convinces R-Truth to put up the World Tag Team titles against Judgment Day, and that match ends up being the main event, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, R-Truth thought he was speaking to Carmella. And
so funny again. I love when he mixes up people. It's just, I love to see where his mind goes.
Yeah, so yeah, this set up a pretty good main event. As I said, we will get there in a little.
We're gonna get there.
Bit.
I did want to bring up this point because it is connected to this. The Miz on commentary the first hour, because Pat McAfee wasn't there. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Miz on commentary.
I didn't.
All right, well,
no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying I didn't. I didn't like it. I think for me it's because like he was too much being the Miz and like too much trying to just like rag on Michael Cole, where I'm just like, I'm over this shtick. Like I'm just not.
See, I was for it because of that reason, because it's just like, all right, it's the Miz. Obviously, he's filling in on commentary because Pat McAfee's not there, so he's going to be the Miz. He's not going to be Mike Mizanin. So him being over the top and like, I'm like, all right, he's going with who the Miz would be and who the Miz is on WWE television. And then I love the fact that when R-Truth agrees to the tag match, he's like, I gotta go. What is this? Like, he gets off commentary and free. Like, I love that element too of the show, because it wasn't like a quick jump. We're gonna go to commercial. Oh, the Miz is gone.
It was in real time.
Exactly. It was in real time that you could see his frustration. And then like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, what are they gonna? And then Michael Cole just jump. Like, there's such a continuity and flow to the show.
Yeah,
that's so different now. That little stuff like that you actually remember, and it's not just lost. Like, oh yeah, that happened. Miz was on commentary. Yeah, he was okay. It was only for the first hour. Like, you remember him being on commentary and how he left.
Yeah,
it's important.
I wish I could say that I felt the same, but I just didn't. So
yeah, we like what we like.
Yeah. So then we had a couple Money in the Bank qualifying matches, the first of which was the women, which was Kairi Sane versus Lyra Valkyria versus Shayna Baszler, which was a good match. I feel like out of the few that we've already seen, we already knew who was going to win this match, which was Lyra. You knew that was going to happen. But I do like how they're going about these triple threats, because when you see that they're going to be that they're going to have triple threat qualifying matches, I got a little bit concerned, and I'm sure other people did, because triple threats can sometimes be pretty bad or pretty chaotic or all over the place, hard to follow, hard to care about. But I feel that they've done a really good job with how they've been putting them together. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's some of the better triple threat matches that we've seen in a while.
They're very exciting. They are very exciting, because you really don't know who's going to, like, this match. I could have honestly thought Kairi could have won, and they could have done damage control in it, and that could, like, I just didn't think Shayna Baszler was going to win, but the other matches we had, like, no one expected Chelsea to steal the win. I mean, Carmelo Hayes being in it now, Andrade, like, those people being in it, it makes the triple threat that much more enticing for you to actually watch and not just kind of glaze over.
Yeah.
And they put on a really good match. They have they had really good chemistry with each other for different backgrounds or longevity in the company and whatnot.
Yeah. See, for me, I felt like it was obvious Lyra was going to win, but I kind of doubted that only because she was just in the Queen of the Ring tournament and got pretty high in the tournament. So I was like, maybe they're not going to put her in there, but maybe this was their way of kind of making it up for that. I don't know. So with Lyra winning, that means that so far the women's Money in the Bank match is Io Sky versus Chelsea Green versus Lyra Valkyria. We will see more matches on SmackDown. That's when like Tiffany is against Jade and I forget who else in that match. I think there's Jade. There's two women's matches this week on SmackDown, and then the final one for Raw is
next week. A banner of it?
I did, but I don't. Not a banner, no.
I thought you had a banner of it.
No, let me see who is the SmackDown Women's Money in the Bank. Oh, jeez.
Why can't I think of it right now?
I don't know. Money in the Bank. No, what the heck? Yeah,
what is it?
I haven't found it yet.
Jade versus
Jade versus Tiffany.
Tiffany, that's it.
I know I said, but there's someone else. I just don't remember. Whatever, I don't care. I assume that Tiffany's going to win that one anyway, so who cares? Then we move on to the men's one, which was also on Raw, which was Bronson. What am I doing? Why did I say Bronson Reed's? It's very rude.
Because he was probably enjoying a nice piece of literature, and you just commented on it.
So the men's Money in the Bank match, qualifying match, was Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable versus Braun Strowman. This one I think was more up in the air than maybe any of the other triple threat qualifying matches because any of them winning would have made sense. Bronson Reed is
I thought Braun was going to win. I thought we were going to have the Monster Monk men.
Bronson Reed is a guy that they've put in elimination chambers and, King of the Ring and whatever. I mean, he's been in everything. Chad Gable is one of the hottest heels right now on Raw, so that would have made sense. And Braun Strowman is a guy that's just running around and knocking people over, so it's like, all right, he might be in it. So, obviously we see Chad Gable win this match, and before we get into everything else that happened afterwards, the men's Money in the Bank match right now is Jey Uso versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade versus Chad Gable, and we already see that because Drew McIntyre demanded to be in the Money in the Bank qualifying matches, he is granted that by Adam Pearce, and then we see he will be facing Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov next week, and I just say, who's winning?
The fans.
I know,
literally the fans. If if this doesn't main event, I'm gonna be upset.
It might, yeah. It just depends on how the rest of the show goes, I guess. But who do you think's winning? Legitimately,
Drew.
Like who do you think's who?
Drew.
You think Drew's winning? So you don't think that Punk is gonna get involved?
No.
In this match, he'll get involved at Money in the Bank.
There's no reason. Yes, there's no reason for him to get involved in a qualifying match for Money in the Bank, which is just a basically qualifier for. I think there's layers to this shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it would be more impactful for him to ruin his chance at getting the title or, winning the briefcase or something than ensuring he doesn't even get into the Money in the Bank match. Because I think the thing is, though, is let's say that Punk does get involved in some way at Money in the Bank, right? One of the things that Drew has made it very clear is that he is beyond frustrated with the lack of involvement from Nick Aldis and or Adam Pearce, whoever, in stopping Punk or punishing Punk for these antics and for him messing up his chances. So if Punk gets involved again,
that's where we have to draw the line.
Is that not when you feel like the general managers or somebody, Triple H, gets involved and is like, all right, You know what I mean? Because I feel like how much are they going to let slide? Because it doesn't even matter. It's like you don't have to be a huge Drew McIntyre fan, but you have to get to a point where you're like, all
I'd be
right,
a
Punk, we
logical
get
fan.
it. You know what I mean?
A
Like,
logical wrestling fan. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's like even if it adds to the storyline or it makes sense because of the story or whatever, it's like that's one thing, sure. But how many times is he going to be able to make sure that Drew McIntyre cannot win the title before people get involved and are like, you can't keep doing this? You know what I mean? Because it's like if it were somebody else, you would get involved. If it
You
wasn't
would.
Punk, you would get involved. If it wasn't Drew and it was like Cody Rhodes that this was happening to, you'd get
Yeah.
involved. So I kind of wonder if that's what happens, if maybe we're going to see the management become part of the storyline, because Drew has kind of already made them part of the storyline when he quit, you know, and he said, I'm sick of this place. You guys let him do whatever he wants. And Triple H was like, this wasn't supposed to happen, but they didn't do anything. They fine Wade Barrett for comments that he made, but they do nothing about Punk showing up at a referee shirt. You know what I mean? So like
there's some
if Punk,
continuity errors here.
yeah, so if they're gonna do something where Punk does ruin his chance at winning Money in the Bank, I'm like, all right, when are we gonna see it be enough for Adam Pearce? You know, I feel like that's an interesting aspect. But I do also feel bad if we're gonna go back to this situation. I kind of hate in a way that Ilya is gonna be in this match, because if he doesn't win, it's just like, oh my god, what are you doing with him?
I mean, they're just qualifying matches to me. I don't.
But this is
Take
going to
too
be
much
another
stock
one
in
that
it.
he loses unnecessarily. Like he just doesn't
Yeah, but it's
need
just a
to.
qualifying match.
I know, but like it's still not a like, to me, I just don't really understand how we're like put Braun Breaker on TV every single week, have him involved with all these top guys, and then you're having Ilya just be like a jobber. Like I'm just not into that, and I don't understand how it's like how we're
Braun
at this
Breaker's
point.
more.
But
I could go into a whole.
I can't believe that you're going to say he's better than Ilya. That's insane.
I'm not.
That's absolute.
He's not
insane.
Better than Ilya. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it makes sense why one is on TV over the other currently.
Whatever. Okay, Mr. Anderson did not like Chad winning over Bronson and Braun since he's not winning Money in the Bank.
Yeah, but there's a reason why he won over.
Richard thinks Drew will be winning. Mr. Anderson thinks Ilya will be winning. And Richard also thinks that Liv versus Zelina is going to be the main event at Raw next week.
Fine.
So.
I mean, if that's the case, championship match does kind of trump a triple threat qualifying. So I get that. But if it doesn't, and if the fans do get what they want, then it will. And we'll have Zelina and Liv at Money in the Bank. But I don't think it's going to happen. So you're right. You are right, Dickie.
All right. So at the end of Chad Gable's qualifying match, the lights go out. The fog comes in.
This was
Nikki Cross as Sister Abigail makes her way slowly, crawling through the ring. Chad Gable then ducks. He ducks out. She gives a box to Michael Cole, and when he opens it, he finds a VHS tape in there. And I have to tell you, the fact that he was saying a VHS player, why are you not saying a VCR, bro? Why are you not saying a VCR? Why are you saying a VHS player?
No, I didn't. Because, Sarah, because I would bet you my bottom dollar.
Yeah, because of all you
90%.
No, not 90%.
I will go 65.
I even think that's high. You have to remember their demographic is 18 to 35.
Yeah.
Yeah, so only like the 18 to like 22-year-olds are not going to know what a VHS is.
24.
Still, that's not half the age bracket. That's less than half.
Yeah, but you have like the kids too now.
Yeah, but who cares? He could have said a VCR, or he's like a VCR so we can play this. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have to say.
No one
like
knows what a VCR is.
I know what a VCR is. That's how I watch Disney movies. What are you talking about?
I know you do because you're cool.
No, it's because I'm old, and that's what you were just trying to say to me.
All right, you know what? I give you a compliment that you're
No.
cool because of this,
No.
and you
You're
just
you because
take
that was a
you know what
cover
you
up.
did
Of
to my
course you
it
know.
was
Of
not a
course you know
cover
what
up.
a
I
V
think you're cool.
of course you know what a VCR
You
is.
took
That's how you watched
you
movies back in
you
the
know
day,
you know what
grandma.
you did? Do you know what you did to my compliment? You just took it and you threw it on the ground. That's
Because
what
it
you
was
did.
bad timing. If you're gonna tell me that I'm cool, don't use it in the same sentence as implying I'm
Well,
old.
you know what? My life is just all about bad timing, I guess.
All right.
All
So
right, moving on.
anyway, eventually we get to a moment where Michael Cole announces that, hey, we found a VCR so we can finally play this. And we see a sit-down interview between Uncle Howdy and
Oh,
Bo
I knew that
Dallas.
this was.
And let me tell
Well, I need to
you something.
focus.
This had to be by far some of the best I don't even know
Cinema
quality
vignette.
segments that WWE has done in years, and I'm gonna say years, because this had so many layers to it that it's like you almost have to watch it multiple times to even real because like I don't know if I even heard or understood or like remember everything that happened in this interview because I was so sucked into the fact that this was happening and you know, I was a little caught off guard about Uncle Howdy being like, "How did you feel when your brother died?" You know, like
Oh,
just
that was when
straight
they
up.
jumped it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was so in awe of this, and I think that this kind of settled a lot of any concerns that some people had, whether it be about Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, the Wyatt Six in general, or anything about, you know, the fact that he had to address anyone trying to imply that he was just trying to profit off of his brother's death or was trying to take over something his brother started for his own personal gain. If you're that much of a psychopath to actually think that, feel free to click off this video because
You're
like
not going to enjoy what we have
that's
to say after this.
like yeah, you don't know the Rotunda brothers if you would legitimately think any of that would be true. So the fact that they addressed that, I think that was brilliant. And I think that this gave so much uh more to their story uh because now you understand why Bo is doing this, you know, or like what his motivation is. You understand his mindset, his emotional set, whatever, you know, like his wherever he's at
Yeah.
emotionally. Um and I feel like this kind of proved that they are going to go a little bit less supernatural, which is something that we've been talking about or people have been alluding to, but there was nothing supernatural about this,
No, this
you
was
know?
all psychological. This was
Mm-hmm.
one of the more uh, unbelievably done psychological segments we've seen because it felt real. It really felt that Bo was looking into a mirror
Yes.
and talking to himself, and the questions that Uncle Howdy was asking were not your wrestling storyline type questions. They were real ass questions that
Yeah.
you ask to like Taylor. You like
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you were asking
Probably
these
things that he's asked himself, like
a
when
1,000%.
considering if this is the right thing for him to do.
And the emotion that he had when answering and just you felt it.
Yeah.
I like there's no words to put together to describe it except that you felt everything that he was feeling there and the words he was saying that nobody on this earth has suffered more than me since his death, you know, and to be and then the other big quote being how we were there and then
Mm.
it was taken away. Like everyone's been there in anything with and just had one of their loved ones or someone taken away from them, and it makes no sense. Like that's you feel that, and that's what they're doing with the Wyatt Six. I would love this to be something that all six or five do. I mean, they're
Yes.
going to be different. They're going
Yeah.
to be very different answers, very different interview styles, but that type of thing where you just get these random videos. Maybe it's, you give it a Michael Cole or Pat McAfee this week, and next week it's like, oh, something's going on in the truck. Or like they need to do this to introduce every member so that you don't just have them come out and it's like, oh, that's Dexter Loomis as Mercy. Oh, that's his.
Yeah.
No, they have to have some sort of, in a weird way, personality with them so that they can become actual figures on your screen.
Well, and I think we need to hear why and how they got to this point. You know what I mean? Where they're wearing the masks and like they're joining together. Like they're not all they're all mourning Bray's death in their own way, obviously, but not in the same way that his own brother is, you know? And like that's not going to be the common denominator between them. They weren't all affected the same way, but it's like, okay, what if we got a Nikki Cross versus like the sister Abigail Nikki like interviewing each other? Maybe it would become redundant and it wouldn't be as effective for people, but I still think that if we got a little bit more of a backstory to why they got to this point or what is drawing them together would make it so much more interesting as a fan to watch. But then I think it would make it a lot easier for anyone who might be on the fence about how well this group is going to be or the storyline is going to be, or maybe there's a couple people that feel I can't be as interested in this because it's not the same without Bray and I don't want to watch this, blah 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 blah. Like I feel like that could kind of make it a little bit easier for them to actually get invested, you know what I mean? And I don't hate the idea either of the Bray or the Fiend being the sixth guy, because I've seen people
like
talking about, well, they're the Wyatt Six, but where's number 6? I would love for Bray to be like the honorary 6.
That's what it should be. That's what it should be, and they're honoring him, and that's who they look up to, and that's who they follow, and that makes sense. And I wanted to, as you're going there, I think this comment relates. Uncle Howdy is Bo's Fiend.
Yes, it's his. It's like the Jekyll and Hyde. Yes, that's what it is. It's the same thing. Everyone with has it. Bray Wyatt. The Fiend is him. It's like all of the worst parts of him or the things that he's trying to hide away. And so that was why it's like sometimes, depending on the situation, we got Bray Wyatt or we got the Fiend. Like it just depended on where he was mentally, how he was feeling that day. And so I feel like, yeah, it's like, but then there can be so many meanings to that too, because it could be like, I'm trying to hide away from this, but then it's also like, okay, maybe Uncle Howdy is his mask of his way of trying to shield himself from his real life and having to deal with everything that's going on because he just doesn't want to. Like he's emotionally shut down. Like I just want to escape this, because people do that. There's a reason why people have, alternate personalities, or, people will, I mean, it's a weird example, but people catfish people, and it's because they just want to escape their own lives to be somebody else. Sucks. So it would be like, okay, well, Uncle Howdy is that for Bo, or being Sister Abigail is that for Nikki Cross. Like I feel like that is a good direction for them to go in, and I think that was the part that when we were breaking down how we felt the Bray Wyatt situation was going last year, when he returned and he was himself and whatever, we were saying like that's the most compelling part of all of this, because it was so relatable. Like you can relate to having thoughts that you wish you weren't having, or doubting yourself, or being so depressed and you're having like bad thoughts, you know what I mean? And I feel like that could be kind of the direction that they go in with all of these people. And even mentioning like their careers, because some of them have been off TV for a very long time, even though they were on the active roster. Reason? Yeah, exactly. So it's like we need to get an explanation for that, and I think people would be more interested in seeing that than whatever concern they were having about it being supernatural. I think the only supernatural aspect of it should be involving the Fiend or Bray in some capacity, kind of being like their leader in a way,
I do.
What's wrong?
I do. My bottle just fell off the table, but then landed straight up.
Oh, isn't that so weird?
As we were talking about supernatural things, it's very weird.
Very weird.
And it's like it didn't spill, and there's still shit in it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is just supernatural shit. Feed your head, Sarah. Feed your head.
Yes, feed your head. All right, to lighter things, we see
Yeah,
Alpha Academy.
kind
Um,
of,
so
kind of lighter.
Chad Gable, after his near-death experience last week on Raw, followed up by a terrifying sight of Sister Abigail crawling towards him in a dark and foggy arena. He goes to the back to find his old family, the Alpha Academy, and they all come out and he speaks to them, and shockingly he apologizes to them. But if you are somebody who has ever been around someone who is manipulative and whatever, you know that you can't really take those apologies seriously because they come at convenient times. And that is
Yes, I do.
exactly how it is interpreted by Alpha Academy. And Otis says, "We are done. We were not, we were serious last week, blah, blah, blah." But Maxine has a soft spot for Master Gable and lets him know that he or she will be talking to Otis and try to kind of convince him to be okay with Gable again. However, before we get to that, because we haven't seen if Maxine was able to do anything, as Gable is about to walk away,
Hey, bro, you good?
The Creed brothers and Ivy Nile show up in support of Gable, hinting once again that he will find a new Alpha Academy. And I am here for it, brother. I am so here for it.
I'm very here for it. I want to see the Creeds and Chad Gable. Like, he could make them into. And the thing is, they don't even need to be like heels, but they
Yeah.
just need to just be robots. Like, it literally just. That's what he wants. He doesn't
Well,
want people with emoji. He wants just natural born killers, essentially. That's what the Creeds could be. Natural born wrestlers.
well, and they already look like Cause. So it's like,
oh my god, the biggest. Holy shit. You're a
so
2K person looks more like a real wrestler than the Creeds do.
yeah, so it's like, okay, well, it would be easy to make them into robots because they already kind of look like one anyway.
do.
I just wonder, when are they going to finally go all out with it? You know what I mean? Because they've been teasing the Alpha Academy breakup. They've teased the Creed brothers joining up with him for a little bit now. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, when are we going to get to the point where they actually do it? I guess maybe we'll find out next week or Money in the Bank. I don't know.
Probably at Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
Maybe after Money in the Bank, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
right around that time.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they're gonna. I think they'll drag it out a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Getting back into the Judgment Day, because Judgment Day dominated the show. And after Damien was out, well, no, was it before? Yeah, it was before, right? Yeah, Damien hasn't come
before
out
the
yet.
main event.
Yeah, anyway, no. Sorry,
Damien's going back.
Yeah, I know. So just forget what I said. Oh, was he going back into the locker room after talking with Seth? Oh, so I have this out of order. Whoopsie. All right. So let's get back. Let's talk about this.
Here we go. Yes.
All right. So Damian Priest goes out to his horrible Def Rebel music. I'm sorry, but I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The AI versions. Have you heard those AI versions of Hulk Hogan's where it's like, I'm Hulk Hogan, brother, and then it just like starts like, and like there was a Ric Flair one too where it was like, I'm jet flying, blah blah blah. Like he's talking throughout the whole thing, and it's like, yeah, no, that really is a AI Def Rebel edit.
I love Def Rebel. Like memes, Def Rebel
yes,
memes.
Def Rebel memes. So Damian Priest walks out to talk, his trash, whatever. And he mentioned Seth Rollins, who was there, which was pretty shocking. I was not expecting that, honestly, but that was very exciting. He showed up as Cruella de Rollins, which I loved personally. And they exchanged.
That's what it was?
Cruella de Rollins. Yeah. Did you not
I
notice?
didn't get I'd have to look at it again, I guess.
You haven't? Okay.
I know who Cruella de Vil is.
He literally looks like her. She wears this like puffy fur Dalmatian print jacket, which he was wearing. She even wears red heels, and he was wearing red boots. Boy. Anyway,
I'd have to find it, but I didn't see. Whatever. Wow, I'm really out of it.
You're really. Let me show you. Hold on.
That I didn't get that reference. That's tough.
How did you
I used to watch 101 Dalmatians at preschool.
Okay, so she wears just a fur jacket. It's not actually not Dalmatian, but it's the same concept. Look.
Yeah, it was white. Okay, I get what he's doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but she wanted to make a Dalmatian fur Dalmatian fur coat, so it felt, the vibes. Anyway, so Seth Rollins comes out because he has talked about he followed the rules and he waited until he heard his name. He say his name and he will appear. So
Not the other guy.
they exchange some blows to each other. Obviously, Seth Rollins wants to point out, like, hey, you need help to retain your title or to win the title. Like, you're a loser champion. You try to convince us that you don't need help, but it looks like you got help last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever. When CM Punk helped make sure that you won the match again, which is very reminiscent to what happened at WrestleMania. That is when Damien decides, you know what? Actually, no, they need me more than I need them. Blah, 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 blah. And then we get to a point where Seth decides that he wants to put up a stipulation for their match at Money in the Bank, which is very random. Doesn't really make any sense. And we agree on that. But he said that if he loses, he will not challenge Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight title again, as long as he is champion. But if Damian loses, then he has to leave the Judgment Day. I'm not really sure how we got from point A to point B. I'm not really sure how any of this makes any sense for Seth Rollins to care about, but that's where we're at. And if I had to say my interest level in this match and the outcome of it, I feel like it would be like a 3. Like, I'm just not that invested because I feel like there's no background to why this stipulation would be in place. But
I'm more interested for the final result rather than the actual story or match. I don't. It just seems out of place right now. Like Seth Rollins, you know what it is too. I did not expect Seth to be back so quick.
I know.
So because of that, like my head's all in a topsy turvy. Like no, Damian, like he should have went near and then did this. So now Seth's and it's like, dude, wait, how do you? And the whole teasing of the breaking up at Judgment Day, like I feel like that's a little too early because Mommy's not back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I really just don't care about the body of the essay. I want the conclusion. Just give me the conclusion.
But see, like, I'm not even like that interested in the conclusion because it's like, if the fact that they're teasing Judgment Day breakup to me feels like, okay, you're probably does that mean that it's going to happen then? Because I don't really understand why even introduce that if it's not going to happen, unless we're going to continue to see further cracks next week, which is the go home show. So it's like, but even then, I don't feel like they're really I don't feel like Judgment Day has deteriorated enough to be at a point next week for it to make sense for Damian to leave Judgment Day. Like, I just feel like we're not there yet. And so that's why I'm like kind of confused, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, you kind of feel like that's what's going to happen eventually, but I just don't know that it needs to happen right now.
I'm gonna save my thoughts more about this for the main event because I just wrote down a question to save for myself.
Okay.
So let's go to this, please. Yes.
So when Damian is coming back from his little moment with Seth Rollins in the ring, he goes towards the Judgment Day locker room, and Liv Morgan skips on out like a happy little duck. And when he opens the door, I loved it. The only person in the lair is Finn Balor. And we can't pretend like Finn is single. Finn is married and has his wife.
Let's not. This is dumb.
His wife's name is Mary, or is tattooed on his hand. Like, we can't ignore. We can't. It's
kayfabe. It's kayfabe.
Even then, though.
I don't care. We're watching a show.
Whatever. So Damian is a little confused about, okay, Finn, what were you doing with Liv? Why was Liv in here? What were you talking about? Are you now getting distracted by her? What is going on here? So there was a little bit of ground laying, I would say, which we've talked about a few times when discussing all of this, because we were like, it seems like Liv and Finn are actually working together. And based off of how the main event went, it looks like we kind of got confirmation of that, which we see that the Awesome Truth face off against Judgment Day for the World Tag Team Championships. And with the help of Liv Morgan, Judgment Day, aka JD McDaddy and Finn Balor, become the new tag team champions. And I was beyond happy because I was not expecting this whatsoever. But I was not mad about it at all. We see them go up the ramp. We hear JD saying his NWO for life thing, but Judgment Day for life, brother. And then Liv comes and celebrates with them. And at first they look like, we're not interested in you being here. But then they just kind of like shrug it off like, yeah, I mean, she helped and now we're all champions. So I'm very, very intrigued to see how this pans out and how maybe Finn explains himself, how Dom tries to get on the same page with the rest of Judgment Day, because now he is the only one who is not champion. I don't know. I feel like there's so many layers to the story and it's just going so well. And Liv is in her element. We can get back to Liv in a second, but
we're going to get back to
Liv is thriving.
We're getting back to Liv in a second because now I can ask this question. Now that we're on to here, we know they won. Where was Damien when they won? Why wasn't Damien celebrating?
I know. That's why I'm like,
Damien out there? Isn't that a little interesting now that they tease the breakup?
Well,
Damien's not out there. They win the tag title.
He said that they need him more than he needs them. So maybe they didn't want him out there.
And that just proves even more. They won, but they didn't win with them. They didn't win with his help.
And
he's won with their help.
Yeah. So I'm assuming, we're definitely we're the story is becoming deeper and more messy, I would say, because instead of Liv really focusing on Dom, she is now fully invested in Judgment Day altogether.
You see with the clanking of the titles, it was like it was kind of impressive actually.
Yeah.
How fast she got over there to time it.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, I mean,
whatever.
I mean, look at what she did. We gotta give her. So like that's the element. And there was something that's online. It's such a good point. Liv is doing everything to make Judgment Day feel special. Make them feel like winners. Make them feel like they are the ones who run Monday Night Raw. Where Rhea just kind of boss them around. Kind of order them around.
She wanted to be the boss. Like she wanted to run Raw.
Yes.
The other thing that I thought was a good point too, that goes to that adds more to why I think Liv is thriving. This was actually from the Twitch streamer I was watching so that I could watch Raw live.
Wow.
He was saying that he's going on and on and on about how good of a job Liv is doing. But especially when you compare it to her last title reign. And he kind of made a good point where he was saying the first time that she won the title, when she won it from being the Money in the Bank winner, won it from Ronda Rousey, that she was kind of that for most of her title reign, she was trying to prove why she deserved to be champion, or that why she should be taken seriously. And this time around, she doesn't have that attitude about her at all. Like she knows that she is the champion. She knows she deserves to be the champion. She's not trying to prove anything to anybody. And so I think that confidence about her also adds to making this storyline and making this title reign already a heck of a lot better than it was the first time. And I couldn't agree more, because I think she's just completely in her element. She's doing such a good job. You can tell she's having so much fun. Also,
oh my god, she's having the time of her life in this role, as she should.
Yeah.
She's crushing it.
It's like it's incredible, really. We've talked about it with Drew McIntyre, and even I guess you could even say about like the pivot, that these random stories that kind of came about accidentally, whether it be because someone got injured and then someone like stood in their place and made something better. That is the same thing with Liv. Like if it were not for Rhea Ripley getting injured, we would not have the story that we have right now. Like
No.
it's kind of incredible to think about where no disrespect to Rhea, of course, we love Rhea, but if she were still around, I don't think we would really be this interested or invested in what Liv Morgan was doing, what the Judgment Day was doing. Like Liv has completely taken advantage of the spot that she was kind of pushed in because of the circumstances, and she's killing it. So
it's you bring it like if Rhea was here, I could still see her doing a Liv Morgan revenge tour and doing everything that she attempting
yeah,
to do everything that she's doing right now with with Dom and Judgment, all that. But there's that roadblock.
yeah.
There's always gonna be that tension, and it would be drawn out a little bit, or they'd actually fight, and it kind of would be over before it even started. I feel like. Where
Well,
this one, because she's not there, they
mm-hmm,
can draw this out as long as they want. I saw a report that Rhea could be ready to go, maybe not for in-ring competition, but like back TV ready
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
whenever. So now you have that element. Let her stay for a few weeks. Let's build up this Judgment Day success story until we need it to kind of fall back.
Yeah.
And you don't have that if she's there. It's crazy how little accidents like that really make for the best stories.
Well, and then even Becky leaving, the
Becky
fact that,
leaving was another huge thing.
yeah, the fact that Becky won the Battle Royal to become the champion, and then Liv beat Becky to become the world champion, and then she is able to use that as like another spot on her belt where it's like, all right, I took out Rhea Ripley, I took out who was the champion, then I took out Becky, who was the champion. Now look at me, like I'm at the top of the food chain in the women's division. Like that adds so much more legitimacy, I think, to her title reign as well. That
So much.
it's like everything that has happened. Like I'm not somebody that believes in everything happens for a reason, but when things like
Oh,
this are
I am.
happening, it's hard to deny it.
I am a big believer in everything happens for a reason.
See,
I
I'm someone who believes you can believe everything happens for a reason in your own life, but you cannot put that on anyone else
Yeah, see, I know exactly where you're going with this,
because I
and
said this
I've had
before.
the
I was
same
like,
exact conversation with my friend
yeah, and I
yesterday.
say that you cannot tell me that you could look at a parent who lost a child to cancer that this was supposed to happen. Everything happens for a reason. Your child was supposed to die for a reason. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm
Yeah,
fine with people
it's the
believing that about their own life, but saying that that is just how life is, like I can't subscribe to
yeah,
that.
I
I'm
I
taking it to
am
a deep
someone.
level, but
You are taking well, I mean, we talked about Uncle Howdy today. All right.
yeah,
We got pretty deep on this episode of Raw. No,
yeah.
I believe in like some crazy shit like that. I mean, I for God's sakes, it's just the easiest one. Like, why did my bottle just do that? Like,
Also, no, I'm not
no, it's not
praising anybody
thanking.
that each somebody. It's like
No.
it wasn't done intentional. It was an accident, and I would never say yes. We should be thankful that somebody got injured. What I'm saying is like who was able to benefit from their absence. It's hard to argue that it wasn't good for them. Is what I'm
You should
saying.
be
Like
able to you should thank the people like Triple H and the creative
yes,
staff and Liv and other people who are doing their jobs, and they're doing their jobs so well that they can make you not forget about Rhea Ripley, but not dwell on the fact that she's not there. They
exactly. Giving
make you
us
more
something
excited for it.
probably better than what we were going to get had
That's
they been
literally what
around.
it
And that's
is.
not even being like disrespectful, but sometimes plan B is better than plan A. So I think that's kind of where they're at. You know what I mean? Like
Right here.
what?
Walking definition of plan B, motherfuckers.
What do you
So
mean?
oh, I was in an accident. You kidding me? My brother's a
Oh,
40 and
oh,
37. You think
yeah.
I was in the cards? No, I'm the goddamn joker that you throw away. But like,
Yeah.
oh, we're playing a fun game with the kids, so we'll use them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm that guy. And look what
Yeah.
happens. Fucking champion.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, anyway, that was Raw.
That was raw. and a little bit of my inner psyche to end the show as well. But no, it was a good Raw. Like this one, say it's such a new era. Like I get really excited for Raw every week. And not only that, like we're in the middle of recording right now and NXT's going on. Well, I'm not just gonna jump into NXT. I'm the lunatic who's going to start over and I'll catch up with commercials and whatnot. And it's just like others like because the product's so good right now, I don't want to miss anything. And that's not only happening just for Raw, but it's happening for NXT as we've seen. SmackDown's a banger where I actually want to come home from work after working a 12-hour 4 to 4 shift and talk about the crazy shit that's happened. I mean, Jacob Fatu last week, the Bloodline's cooking, and they're at Madison Square Garden this week. Like crazy shit's gonna go down, and that's just WWE. All right, we have TNA doing some crazy shit. The man that you say his name and he appears. He could appear in WWE. And then I know it's not the most popular, obviously, with the tribalism, but AEW is still doing well right now. They got Forbidden Door coming up. You got a ton of other wrestling promotions involved in that. And it's good for other reasons. So let's just be happy right now, Sarah, that wrestling is at one of its best states in its history. And I'm just thankful for that because we have this show. We have this show that you guys tune into basically every episode. It feels like I see the same faces and Vinny over here. It's cooking. Well, you are too, Vinny. You're crushing it. Mr. Anderson, AEW too. Well, you too, Mr. Anderson. You're crushing it too. Like, just it's so nice to see you guys come in here and listen to us ramble about wrestling because I can't even go upstairs and have a conversation about it. So it's nice to have people that I can share it with and grow because we got some fun stuff cooking. I texted Sara today about an idea that I'm working on that I think is something cool that would be very interesting for it's definitely the loyal peeps, but maybe a peeper who hasn't came in yet. So like shit like that's happening. We have a show name. All right. That's kind of the big thing. We have a show name now. No Nights Off. All right. Like we're on our own. All right. And we're going to steer this pirate ship until we hit land. So climb aboard and get with us because I'm excited. And you should subscribe. If you're going to join, you got to hit subscribe. All right. Hit that subscribe button, bell notification to know that you're on the pirate ship with us and know when we go live every time and videos posted. And then follow us on social media down below in the links in the description. I'd say them, but there's a lot of them. So just click those buttons. You're already there at the subscribe. So just go down like a few and go follow us on all social media platforms. And go follow my Twitch channel. All right. It's not twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network. Why am I promoting here? Well, because Sara jumps into the Nonsense Galaxy and wrestles in it. I know it's awesome. We go into 2K, play WWE 2K, and we created Sara for the female story. And I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. I mean, your feud with Carmella, I was fully invested in and wanted to beat that ass.
Same though.
She took our name. I didn't like that. That was really rude of her.
Yes.
This week we either got Slade, Candice LeRae, or there was someone else. I gotta check it out. Because the Miz tried to recruit us to SmackDown.
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't like that.
No,
I was thinking. I literally was thinking this as I was playing. He was trying to recruit. In my mind, I'm like, well, Sarah's on SmackDown. I can't go. It's Sara. I was like, no, we're not going. You're the Raw gal.
That's not on brand. Sorry.
It's not. So we keep it on brand here, and we have a lot of fun with all the nonsense and shenanigans. So go check it out. Twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network. What's tomorrow? Wednesday is usually when I go.
Yep.
I'll probably go because we're recording Thursday. That's why we've been all over the board with recording and whatnot, but we're recording Thursday, so I will be on tomorrow. Twitch.tv. I'll tweet out this seat. That's why you got to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I tweet out when I go live because I'm getting a haircut. I got work. A lot of shit's going on. Sara, you got to write about the greatest football franchise to ever happen. So we got a lot of stuff on our plate, okay? So that's why you got to follow us, hit that subscribe button, and bell notification know every time we go live so you can come back here, talk wrestling with the best of the West. You can't forget about and the champ of the peeps. Miz always becomes GM. Yeah, I don't get this. I get why, but like, I fuck you, Miz. I hate you as GM. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of No Nights Off, the Raw Rewind. We're back on Thursday for the actual No Nights Off show. We don't have a fun name like the Raw Rewind or SmackDown Breakdown yet. If you have one, let us know in the comments. I don't care. I don't care if you come up with a name that's better than mine. That's what a champion does. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All I got to do is try. We will see you, well, hopefully tomorrow in the Nonsense Galaxy, but if not, Thursday. Bye!